Hi there, we're going to be looking at factorizing expressions, and so I've got some expressions here that we're going to have a look at, ranging from 2x, 24 up to things involving squared and cubed. So first of all, it's worth sort of explaining what factorizing is. So for example, if I wanted to factorize 24, which you can see on the left hand side, so 24, I can factorize that into 2 times 12. Or alternatively, I could factorize 24 into 6 times 4. So that's the idea of what factorizing is. But we're going to take it further than that with the algebra, and we're going to factorize expressions. Now hopefully you're familiar with expanding brackets. And if you can expand brackets, then factorizing expressions is the opposite. We're going to take an algebraic expression, we're going to put it back into brackets, because sometimes that could be quite useful. So here's an expression here, 2x and 12x squared. So we've got two terms. What I'm going to do with these two is I'm going to add them together. And I'm aiming to be able to rewrite it as something times a single bracket. In order to find out what I'm going to multiply by that bracket, I need to decide what goes into both these terms. So I'm going to factorize the terms individually. First of all, what goes into both 2 and 12? And that's 2. So if I factorize 2x, I can write it as 2 times x. If I factorize 12, bearing in mind I want there to be a 2 in it, because there's a 2 in the first one as well, 2 times 6. And then x squared means x times x. Now you won't always have to go through this method when you're confident with this, but it helps to understand it. So what we're looking for is what appears in both lists, or in both expressions. So there's a 2 in both expressions, so we're going to put a 2 outside the bracket. Similarly, there's an x in both, so we're going to put an x outside the bracket. And hopefully you can spot that 2x goes into 2x and 2x goes into 12x squared. Now we're going to see what we've got left over. Now I've crossed off both the 2 and the x, so you could think, oh, there's nothing left. But bear in mind, if you're familiar with expanding brackets, I'm going to have to multiply 2x by something to get 2x. I'd hope you realise that if we're going to multiply 2x by something to get the same thing, that's got to be 1. So if you end up crossing off all the terms, bear in mind you're going to put 1 in the bracket. It's still going to be plus, and then what we're left with is 6 and an x. And I've factorised that expression completely, taking the factors of 2 and x out, leaving 1 plus 6x inside. If you're ever unsure and you want to check you got it right, you can always expand the brackets just to check. So let's have a quick check. 2x times 1 is 2x, 2x times 6x, or 2 times 6 is 12, and x times x is x squared. Okay, that works. Let's try it with the next one. So first of all, I'm going to be asking what goes into both 24 and 18. I hope you've all thought of 6. So let's factorise 24, where one of the factors is 6. And let's do the same with 18. And then that's times x and times y. For this one, I'm going to put a minus in between. I'm going to do 24 minus 18xy. And the same there. So let's have a look at what's going to end up outside my bracket. Well, you can see that there's a 6 in both, so that goes outside. Is there anything else in both? No. So now I can put my first bracket in. And what am I left with? I've got a 4. We're going to take away, and we've got 3xy. Once again, just going to do a quick check. So we've got 6 times 4 is 24. 6 times negative 3xy, or 6 times negative 3 would be negative 18. And then the x and the y multiplied on the end. It works. Moving on, so you can see the level is getting slightly higher as we go. So what goes into both 15 and 30? Well, 15 and 30, actually 15 goes into both. So we've got 15 times x. 15 times 2 will give me the 30, and now we've got x cubed, which means x times x times x, and y squared, which means y times y. Let's have a look what goes into both. Well, 15 goes into both, so that goes outside. There's also an x in both, so that goes outside as well. There's nothing else that goes into both, so we close our brackets. Now remember, we've crossed off both terms here. Hopefully you remember that means 15x times 1 will give us our first term. And then we're left with 2 x times x and y times y. So 2 x times x is y squared, y times y is y squared. And we factorise that one. Okay, we've got 3 more to go, where there are a few more letters involved and a few more powers involved. If you may want to start having a go at these, pause the video and then come back and see if you were right. Okay, I'm going to try this one with a plus in between. So we've got 6tp plus s squared tp. There's no number in this one, so I don't have to worry too much about the factors of 6. And then for this one, if you would like, you could put 1 times s squared times t times p, because it is times by 1, or you may want to leave that off like the last ones. And let's have a look what's in both. Well, there's a t in both, so that's going to go outside, and there's a p in both, so that's going to go outside. And what we're left with, we've got a 6 plus s squared. Okay, 2 more to go. For this one, we've got 12 and we've got 4 on the front of our expressions. What goes into both? 4 goes into both. So 12 can be factorised into 4 times 3, so we've got the 4 in both, times s times t. I'm going to take these ones away, or do a minus in the middle, so minus 4, and we've got a lot of s's to go, a lot of t's, and some p's. So I've got 2 s's, 2 t's, 2 p's, because they're all squared. And let's have a look what goes into both. We've got 4 in both, we've got s in both twice. So we're going to need to have outside the brackets 4 times s, and that can be simplified to s squared. We've also got a t in both, so we're going to put a t on the end there, and that's covered everything. Let's see what's left inside. It's going to be a 3 minus t times p, and that means we're going to have tp squared. Okay, we've got 1 more to go. Well, I think it's obvious 3 goes into both. And let's see if we can do this one without doing the long listing of the terms. So what goes into both? 3 does. There's a t in both, and there's a p in both. So what are we left with inside? Well, we've got the 3, the t and the p outside, so there's going to be an s. We've got the 3, the t, and 1 of the p's inside, so we're going to have p squared. And that is how we factorize expressions into 1 bracket. Hopefully within a short period of time we'll be factorizing into 2.